I'm here with Niki Clement, who is entering her 9th season as the head coach of the women's and men's squash team at Haverford College. I've had the pleasure of working with Niki for 6 years now. Niki, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Bobby.
So when did you start playing squash?
I started when I was about 9 or 10 years old, just playing in clinics and enjoying the game.
And you went to Radnor High School, right? But there's no team. So what was your junior experience like?
My brother and I were very into squash just from, our parents playing. So we played at our local club all the time after school. We did lessons, did the clinics. And my dad actually started the first team that was not associated with a school. So I think it was called the Berwyn Squash Team, just because we, practiced at Berwyn, and there were just kids from, Lower Merion High School at the time. There weren't any schools that had, public schools that had teams. So it was Lower Merion, Harridan, and Radnor kids. So we had, my dad started that up, and so we got to play some high school matches. But yeah, it's tough when you don't have that structure there for you. You have to do it on your own. You have to find matches and find lessons and make it work.
I'd imagine it takes a lot of discipline. Just keeping at it.
Yes, and being addicted to the game also helps.
So would you go out and you'd find tournaments around that you play and just do it that way?
Junior squash circuit's a bit different now than when, my brother and I were playing, but we would, get notices about upcoming tournaments, and we would just sign up for all the ones we wanted to do and hope to get in.
Do you have a rivalry with your brother at all when you're playing?
No, we have a very good relationship with that. We're both personally very competitive with ourselves. So I think that's why it ends up being a lot of fun, just because we're, enjoy playing with each other, but, very focused on performing well for our own standards.
Right.
So that's me. Who knows what he would say, but.
You played college squash at Bowdoin College in Maine. What was that like?
It was great. It was the first time for me to have more of a structured team and to have this, family of people from different areas of the country. Who all had the same things in common as me, which is, loving the game and competing for our school. So it was great. It was so nice to just have that home away from home, Bowdoin being so far from Philadelphia, where I'm from. So it was a wonderful experience.
How did your training regimen change from when you were a junior to in college?
I think in juniors, a lot of it was self-structured. Or through the coach and club that I was working with. For the first time, I was just following a program that the coach put together. That was mainly during this season, the college season. So it was, in some ways, a nice relief to just follow instructions and hope to get better that way.
You hold the position of the most career wins for squash at Bowdoin. How is that even possible? I'm just amazed by that.
Oh, that's nice of you. I don't know. I mean, I just wasn't thinking about that kind of thing. I just wanted to play to a standard that I would be happy with, and I think that drove my practicing and hitting in practice and where I was physically and mentally in practice, but also outside of, those practices. It was important to me to play as best as I could, and that's what really mattered, and I think that was kind of just a byproduct of where my head was at.
And you played number 1 all of those years at Bowdoin. I mean, you must have faced a ton of challengers trying to get your spot.
Definitely, and it keeps you honest. You have to earn and maintain your spot, especially every year when there's some new freshmen coming in. You really have to make sure that you are on top of your game. And so it was really nice to be challenged like that.
Kept pushing you to get better, I would assume.
Definitely.
Every day. Shifting a little bit, different topic here. Tell us about your experience playing on the professional tour. What was your favorite memories with that?
That was so much fun. I was really lucky because I was able to, I had the privilege to play and just see if I could get as good as possible. And it's not that easy for other people in different circumstances. So I was just extremely lucky to have the opportunity. And it was just so much fun. I think, I say that now looking back that it was fun, but during the time, it was so important to you, and the intensity level is very, very different from college squash in some ways. So it fed that motivation that I had to become the best player that I could be. But I got to, it was an excuse to travel to new places. And I met so many great people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. And I'm so thankful for that now, especially still working in the college world. I'm sorry, the squash college world. It really has helped me just learn more about the game and how to train for the game and how different areas of the world prepare for matches and the different styles of different regions. It's really just made my education of the game and sport and competition just extremely more extensive. Yeah.
And where was your favorite place that you traveled for a tournament?
Tough question. I think I would say I really loved my tour. I did a tour in Australia, and there was just a series of tournaments in a row, and a lot of times when that happens, there's a bunch of players who are all doing the same tournaments weekend after weekend after weekend, and so we went to Sydney, we went to a small city called Rockhampton, Melbourne, and it was just really fun to hit those really cool clubs and places, and also with the same people because you were traveling doing that same route.
You trained with them a lot.
And that was a really nice perk too, just to be able to have new playing partners and see totally different drills to practice some of the same things. And you're right, having those playing partners was just such a privilege.